Hey guys, welcome back to Under the Radar Books. I'm Brittany, and today I have a very exciting video to share with you guys. I heard about Shelf Slam 2017 from Elena, and then I quickly went to Janet's channel and watched her video as well. And I think it is such a genius idea. I will link both those videos down below if you want to see what it's all about. But basically, it is a goal in 2017 to read the books that we own and not buy as many books. So I really need to do that. I got so many books this year and I'm just feeling swallowed up by my TBR. So basically each month we're going to pick a category and we're going to try to read 12 books from that category that are already on our shelves. And if we accomplish that, we're each going to buy each other a book off of our wish list. And those are the only books we're going to buy this year. So that is the plan. I hope that we can stick to it. But the first category was to read hyped books. So basically books that you feel like everyone else has read and you haven't gotten to, or books that have received a ton of hype and you just haven't picked them up yet. So I have a huge stack here. There's even other ones that I've thought of since choosing my TBR. I have more than 12 books here, and so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. But these are some books that I think are really good options for our first category, and I'm really excited to jump into them. So the first one that I have on here is The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger, and this is such a hyped book. It's also a movie, but it basically follows a man who is a time traveler and can travels from different time periods, and it follows a love story. So a woman falls in love with this man who travels through time, and it follows how he comes and goes in all these different time periods and how their love story can be possible. So I love time travel books. I love love stories that involve time travel or reincarnation or things like that. And so there's no reason why I shouldn't pick this up, and I really think I will enjoy it. So definitely going to get to this one. It has pink pages. Isn't it cute? Next is actually a book that I read when I was maybe 11 years old, and I cannot remember a single thing about it. But this is a super popular series. It is Sabriel by Garth Nix. And I think this has 4 or 5 books in the series now. And I honestly don't know much about it, except for it is a fantasy series. It's great. People rave about it. I know this is some people's favorite series. And it involves something with necromancers, I think. But it has a really strong female character, so I'm so here for that. I think this will be a great quick read and help me reach my goal. Next up is a book that is a recent hyped book that a lot of people have been reading that I just haven't got to yet, and I've heard pretty good things about it, and that is The Girls by Emma Cline. And this main character basically falls into a crowd of these fierce, free-spirited girls in the 1960s who turn out to be associated with Charles Manson and his cult. So I've heard that this is kind of a mix of coming in age and thriller, and so I think it sounds brilliant and I really want to get to it. Next is a book that I cannot believe that I haven't read yet because it's been around for ages, and that is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. And this follows a young girl who is abducted and murdered, but her spirit actually is the person telling the story, I think. And this is also a movie, which I haven't seen, but this honestly sounds right up my street. I've owned it for so long, so I will be getting to this one as well. Next up, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't read yet because I think that it is one of the most famous gothic novels of all time, and that is my favorite genre, so I probably need to read this, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So this doesn't need any explanation, but I really need to get to it. Next up is Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews, and I read this also when I was really young, don't remember it at all, so I've been wanting to reread it for a really long time. And this follows 4 siblings who, basically an accident befalls their family and they have to go into hiding. So they hide in the attic of their home and soon realize that they might never be let out. So it sounds really creepy. I've heard that this is like so disturbing, so I am going to read it. Next is another like middle grade novel that I've never read that I know people absolutely adore, and that is Howls Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. So this follows Sophie, who gets a curse put on her, and she's trying to undo the curse, and she stumbles across a castle, Howls Castle, and basically goes on this crazy adventure with Howl, and it just sounds funny and thrilling and exciting, so I think this would be a great one and a really quick one. Next up is a series that has been around for quite a while as well, and it is also a TV series, and that is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. And I've heard a lot of people refer to this as like a grown-up Harry Potter. It follows a magical college where our main characters are trying to find themselves and learn magic and make it in this magical society. I'm super interested. I have heard mixed things about both the book and the TV series, but I really want to find out for myself and see how it goes. Next up is a book I'm going to be buddy reading, and I had planned this a while back, but it happens to just fit in with the category, which is great. And that is The Monsters of Templeton by Lauren Groff, and I'm pretty sure this is Lauren Groff's first novel. And this follows, it's a really quirky like family tale. It follows a girl who moves back in with her family in their old house, and in the lake close by they find like a sea creature and a sea monster, which brings all this media and attention to their local town. So it sounds really interesting. It definitely just sounds like a family novel, but it has magical elements to it. And since I loved Fates and Furies so much, and the fact that this has magical things in it makes me think I'll like this one even more. Next up is another buddy read that I will be doing, and that is Carrie by Stephen King. I'll be reading this with Cherry from Cherry Walker, and we wanted to read a Stephen King together, and so I picked this one because it's very slim and will be a nice quick read for me. I don't think this needs any explanation. I'm pretty sure you guys know what Carrie is, so I will be getting to that one. Next is one I also really want to get to because I've heard really great things about it, and this is actually Elena's one of her favorite books of last year, and that is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And this is like a mixed media book, which I really, really love. It's written in a really interesting style. It's like IM messages and like all sorts of just interesting things. It's just written in a different format, which I can really appreciate. So I am excited to get to that. It is a science fiction novel set in 2575. It follows two teenagers who kind of get wrapped up in this conspiracy, and it just sounds really interesting. I really am hoping that I love it. Next up is a book that I just started today and just listened to a little bit of it on audio and read along, and that is H is for Hawk by Helen MacDonald. And this is a memoir about Helen who loses her father and basically is struggling with that loss while simultaneously training a goshawk, which is one of the fiercest hawks that exist. So it is so fascinating, and I am so excited to get more into it because it is written really well. It's super engaging, and I just find it incredibly interesting. Next up is a short story collection that I felt a lot of people read last year, and I haven't quite gotten to that, and that is A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. And this follows two women who are going to have a baby soon, and they decide that they don't want to tell stories to the baby. They only want to tell the baby the truth. So basically, one of them is asleep, or one of them's at work, she tells the baby stories, and then the pregnant woman is asleep, the other one tells the baby stories. And so these are like the fairy tales and the stories that they tell their child, and what it has to do with real life and why it's important to tell stories. So I'm really excited for that one. It just sounds really magical, and I can't wait to pick it up. Next up is a graphic novel that I really want to get to, and that is Sandman, Volume 1 by Neil Gaiman. And this is a massive graphic novel series, and I don't even know what it has to do with anything, but I know that it's creepy, and I know that Neil Gaiman wrote it, and so I'm going to read it. Next up is one that Elena actually put on her list, and so I haven't read it yet either, so I decided to throw it in here, and that is Cuckoos Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. And I've heard really good things about this series, and it is the Cormoran Strike series, and it is a crime series, and that's pretty much all that I know. But I know that Joss really loves it, and a couple other people that I'm blanking, but I know that people have really enjoyed this, so I would love to get to it. I think it'll be a quick read. And last but not least that I have in this TBR pile, which will probably change as the month goes along, is the Complete Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic memoir, I think, and so I'm pretty sure it's a true story about Marjane growing up in Iran and the struggles that she faced, and I think it deals a lot with the culture there and how difficult it can be sometimes, and so I really want to get to it. I've heard rave things about it. It has brilliant reviews on Goodreads, so I'm hoping it will be just as good as I think it's going to be. So those are some potential reads for my Shelf Slam for January. I'm really excited to do this. I have already stopped buying books because of this, so I think it's working so far, so hopefully we can stick to it, and I will keep you posted on how it goes. If you guys have any other recommendations for hyped books or anything, I'd love to hear it, because maybe I forgot some. And yeah, go check out Janet and Elena's videos as well. It's going to be really fun to share this with you guys. So until next time, happy reading!